Looks like YouTube should be streaming. Confirm here in a second. So we are live and on the air on YouTube and Twitch. So welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is a Thursday afternoon. We're mainly here to provide you with support and answer any questions about our products and services. If you have any of those, feel free to jump over to foolishtechshow.com. We have an IRC chat and a couple ways you can join it from there. We'll be more than happy to interrupt whatever we may be talking about to focus on those types of topics instead. Because otherwise we will be filling the air with random shop talk, and feel free to participate in that as well. Just keep in mind that any opinions expressed are the opinions of that individual and not the company itself. So how is everyone's Thursday going?
Like any Thursday would.
Indeed. My head is slightly starting to hurt, so that's a good Thursday, right? All right, so it looks like we got Phoenix and Weskers in the chat. Hey guys, welcome. And dumb dog, of course, wants to start barking as soon as the show starts. But looks like Phoenix posted two things in the chat. MacOS Malware. I saw some news about that. I don't really care. And Yahoo was hacked again. Yeah, I saw some stuff about that. And didn't Verizon have to drop their bid like $250 million because of all the issues that Yahoo has been coming up with? I guess they didn't announce that during their sale.
Yeah, I heard they dropped it by a couple $100 million. I think it was $200 million, something like that.
I think it was like $250 million, which is kind of a hard hit, but I definitely wouldn't want to buy a place and pick up all these security issues. Apparently, they're just now getting around to letting everybody know about. And then final one Phoenix had up there was a JavaScript exploit. Michael, don't say it. A JavaScript exploit to bypass ASLR protection on 22 CPU architectures.
Oh, I'd like to talk about that for a brief moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is pretty serious. So usually these types of attacks have been able to have it mitigated through software or through a browser. So this is a JavaScript that's being run in a browser, but the thing is it's not attacking the browser, it's not attacking the operating system, it's attacking the memory management unit of the microprocessor. And it has to do with basically two concepts of in the processor, ASLR and the cache subsystem, and the fact that those are mutually exclusive. The ability to cache and retrieve items is basically anti-ASLR. That being the case, that's how they're doing it. They're using the cache, I guess, to retrieve that information from what they know as a known spot. It's basically corrupting memory, like any of these other types of attacks. But they were able to carry out a full exploit with it, and there's no defense if you're using any of those 22 CPU architectures, which basically includes everything we use, from ARM CPUs to Intel's and everything else in between for the most part. There may be architectures, CPU architectures out there that aren't aren't designed in the same way, or lack cache, or something like that could potentially not be vulnerable to this type of thing. But it does appear to be somewhat serious. And without
that was supposed to be a secure cache area. However, apparently some third-party apps can get access to it, like browsers.
And I don't know. Apparently, Safari and Mac guys, they were able to do something to quote unquote harden it against something like this. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe there is something they can do to make this a little bit more difficult to achieve through the browser. The other alternative, of course, is to disable JavaScript, but that's going to break a lot of sites. So I don't know if that's an acceptable thing for anybody out there. Unless you can convince all the millions of websites out there to stop using JavaScript. I doubt that's going to happen.
Hey, here's a link on the Bleeping Computer article that I was reading about it on. The ANC attack.
Yeah. That's I caught that name when I was reading the one. I think I read one from ours about that. But it's intriguing. Did you post the ours article already? Let me see if I have it.
No.
Yeah, I have the ours one, so that'll be good to
Compare the various ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna mention something else about the update with Microsoft, because they apparently are
There is
pushing the updates off until the March patch Tuesday. And I had an article that said that, but yeah, here we go. There's another bleeping article. So yeah, apparently we talked a little bit yesterday about patch Tuesday for February hasn't come out yet, and there's possible many reasons why. But apparently Microsoft has come out and said that they're going to deliver the updates on March instead. So a whole month without patches.
And again, that's a month that Windows 10 machines are vulnerable to that SMB exploit.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Phoenix, I know it's related to the SMB exploit, but the theory that I and some other people had previously was that it was because they changed their patch delivery system, and that was the problem, not so much with the specific patch. But does this article in Bleeping Computer, I haven't read it yet, does it indicate a more direct cause rather than the update system?
No, I think they just theorized as well.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out next month then, right?
We shall see if we get to find out next month. I wouldn't put it past them for them to push it off again. Then we got some other stuff. Let's see. Oh, so yesterday we were talking about about getting kids to learn coding, and I came across another toy from Hasbro. It's a robotic dog that they're coming out with. Going to be $120, and it's going to slyly teach you how to code. So it's going to include LEDs and
a robot is going to teach me how to code? Is that what you're saying?
A robot is going to teach you how to code. But there's 10 trigger points on the dog's body, including its attached ears, nose, tail, and 2 capacitive sensors in the patch of fur on its plastic black back. You can set it to respond to interactions with those parts in a variety of ways by dragging and dropping reactions to slots in an app diagram of the robot. So kind of interesting. And again, like I hold a firm belief that you should be teaching any of your children how to code, because that's going to be where the jobs are in the future. They're not going to be able to go out in high school and get a fast food job, because those are all going to be taken up by robots, and the jobs they will be able to get are repairing those robots. So someone's going to have to code all that stuff to work, and someone's going to have to be able to repair it. So learning electronics and coding is probably your best path to start teaching your kids, and especially start teaching them at young ages. Speaking of robots, though, check this out. It's a underwater drone robot. trying to survey under the ocean. So they're going to send out those. It's pretty cool because it flies in the air and then also in the water. So that was pretty neat. Michael. And let's see, I had some other interesting things. Thought this was pretty interesting. So apparently Venezuela did not like what CNN was broadcasting, so they cut the signal to the country for CNN, and CNN noticed that and decided to take to YouTube for it. Thought that was kind of an interesting government trying to censor and then the media going back on it. So. And let's see what else we got. Oh, this one's fun. Anyone that has pets out there, especially dogs, might want to read this article and make sure you're not getting this type of food. Because apparently there's a recall on a certain type of food because it could contain euthanasia drugs. So your dogs could be put to sleep by their food.
I mean, and by put to sleep, you mean killed.
Yep.
I
don't see
pentobarbital.
exactly.
It's usually how they use the term.
Pentobarbital. This is horrible. Like animals. I mean, we're dog lovers here. This is not right.
So it's apparently it looks like a pentobarbital euthanized cow ended up in the food they were making for the dog food.
Oh, so this wasn't okay. This was just an accident. All right.
Yeah, they probably didn't make dog food just to put a whole bunch of dogs to sleep.
I would hope not. That would be disturbing news.
But I don't see specifically which one.
Yeah. Do they? That's a good point. Hold on. Yeah, I need to look at that more closely. Is there a food we should be avoiding? What,
Against the grain pet food.
Against the grain pet food.
I was thinking that was like an animal rights activist group or something when I was reading through it.
Maybe I can get here's a recall notice. Maybe I can get a picture of the box. No, of course not. Oh yeah, okay. There is a photo at the bottom. It's nothing I feed my dogs. It looks like it's canned dog food, and I only do the dry for my dogs.
Because you like them, but not that much.
No, it just keeps them. I believe it to be better for them. Keeps them regular and stuff.
And all this wonderful talk about a wall at the Mexican border. Did you know that there's already a wall in the Mexican border?
Yeah. There's a town in Texas where they've had a wall up for quite some time, and.
But what's fun about it is they found a weed-slinging catapult hanging from it.
Mm.
So apparently someone set up a catapult to deliver weed to the U.S.
Trebuchet?
Yeah, that's that's my big problem.
Looking catapult.
Yeah.
But the border, I do believe we have to have border security, but I just don't believe a wall is a means to that end. I don't believe it's effective. It hasn't been effective when we built walls in the past, and we've built walls along the border in previous administrations. This is not the first administration to start erecting walls down there. But certainly it's the broadest, the longest wall that would be put in place. But they never addressed the fundamental issues of digging holes underneath these walls, of slinging things over, going down to where there is you got to let somebody through. So there's there's got to be openings otherwise.
Well, I think it would be interesting if this was adapted for sending people over. Like you get a parachute and then jump in the catapult.
I'm sure they'll try everything, but that's gonna obviously lead to a lot of deaths, I'd imagine, when the chute fails to deploy properly.
USS Rover, that is a dangerous thing to be doing. I went to the border of Dominican Republic and Haiti when I was young, and they essentially have that. They have full machine gun armed military personnel on their border with Haiti, and all of their weapons are pointed in that direction, and it's a scary place to be near.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it'll exactly help, because that still wouldn't help with the under the wall people. I mean, building a tunnel.
And it also doesn't help for the tons of people that come in, actually they might be illegal because they have, illegal papers, but they come in through the legal channel, you know what I mean? And it doesn't address that either. So I'm not for something like that. But
Driving was fun in the Dominican. We had you do have to watch out for scooters that have tons and tons of way past their capacity and load on them. I saw 14 people on one scooter.
oh, that can't be good.
That was insane. Then the taxi we were in had street signs covering up the holes in the floor. That was kind of fun. So, yeah, 3 to 4 people is average on a scooter down there.
USS Rover. I'd like to get off the wall topic, but yeah, there's probably better tech stuff to talk about.
Well,
I will go
here's
find
a
it.
drone simulator from Microsoft to help you practice and prevent crashing. If it's anything like their plane simulator, hopefully it'll be fun too. And hey, Johnny, you need to look at this link and figure out where it is. But apparently, Microsoft or McDonald's spent a whole lot of time and money on re-engineering their straws for the Shamrock chocolate shake. It says here, the redesigned straw, short for suction tube for reverse axial withdrawal, is meant to alleviate the most basic of problems, having to wait for your shake to melt a bit before you can get the perfect mix of chocolate and mint flavors. While a conventional straw will only slurp up one part of the shake at a time, engineers from the Jace Engineering and NK Labs carefully engineered the straw's J-shaped snorkel design and side openings to suck in both layers at once.
That's awesome.
They are releasing this straw in limited quantities at select locations when you buy a chocolate shamrock shake. I tried clicking on that McDonald's.com link and it didn't show me anything. It just asked me to sign up for a newsletter, but
That's just something. Are you serious? Isn't that more expensive? No, I guess not.
what?
It would be cheaper. I must have thought about that. Huh. That's neat. Yeah. When can we see that? In time for St. Patrick's Day?
Well, they got the Shamrock Shakes out right now.
I ordered a chocolate shamrock shake the other day, and they did not put the chocolate in it.
The guy at the register didn't even know it was there.
Yeah.
Looks to me like
I'm
the
not
new
gonna be
straw
ordering a
design might require some extra suction.
Yeah. But or maybe specific to a shake. But at any rate, I don't consume very many shakes. I doubt I'll be seeing this anytime soon, but maybe I'll find one in the trash.
I thought it was pretty interesting that it had 3 holes in it. So it's got 2 on the side, on the J side there, and then 1 at the very bottom.
So does it always does it come in the box when you
I don't know. That's what
I just want to. Yeah, I want to see how it comes and check out try the straw.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll get really popular and they'll provide it for all their shakes in the future.
Maybe. We'll see. So this is for anybody out there putting stuff up online and and streaming as we are right now. This could be an interesting story for you. So I mean, I'm sort of in agreement with how this was ruled, but the guy basically he said his intent was to privately share the live birth video of his wife or his partner, whoever, and then he said he realized shortly after it that it was live streaming, but he decided not to take it down, and that led to like 100,000 views or whatever, and apparently got reposted on a lot of news, or the clip was partially played on a lot of news sites. Well, apparently that was overboard for him, so he started suing all those agencies that were posting it. I believe trying to, a copyright issue, basically saying that this is my stuff. Why are you using this? But like any other news story, it's fair use to show a clip of something, and he also, was aware of the limitations of his rights in the matter. So they ruled against him, and
were they just showing clips, or were they showing the entire thing?
They made it out to sound like it was just clips. Did I not read that right?
I don't know. I didn't read the whole thing. Because I mean, I would think
22 seconds of a 45-minute video. No, the whole thing was filmed, so there was no way they could play that on a news. So 22 seconds apparently.
So that's fair use.
Well, it said news story that would enable viewers to understand and form an opinion about the couple's action. So it was that was the shortest amount necessary to report, basically.
Well, I mean, there's 2 sides to it, because if they were making money off using his content, then that's different.
Well, the other thing is that there's something special about this particular thing, and that it gets a couple of fair use exclusions because it being a quote unquote socially significant phenomena. I don't know how the law is written, but apparently that comes into play. And he supports the fact that it is a socially significant phenomena, the guy. So again, that's but it basically kills this guy's lawsuits. He had lawsuits against ABC, NBC, Yahoo, Coed Media Group, and Coed Media Group. And he also had ones with CBS and Microsoft, but those were dropped earlier. They're not sure how, though, possibly due to a settlement. Interesting. He might have gotten paid off a little bit. And there's also one pending case still in the Eastern District of New York. I don't know, just kind of interesting. But yeah, fair use is a hotly debated topic, of course, particularly with news organizations. But I disagree with him. If he didn't want this to happen, the minute he realized it was streaming, he should have stopped it. Now, I know you want to document things for, posterity's sake or whatever the case may be, but people have been growing up for thousands of years without seeing their mothers give birth to them. I don't think.
Well, he was trying to share it with friends and family at the time.
Well, maybe they should have just got on a plane and got to the hospital and looked at it themselves. If you want to, I disagree with.
You don't have to freak out so much about it. But I'm saying I have heard of other issues where
Thank you,
people
Rover.
have used Facebook Live and didn't realize that they were streaming live. Proctor, didn't you do that?
He's
That's
doesn't have his headset on,
Yeah,
remember?
I think so.
No, he does. He was just talking. Um, I thought you had said something. You were trying to stream something, and then you realized it was live, or maybe vice versa. You were trying to stream something live and realized it wasn't.
Oh
I've
yeah,
heard-
when we were in the car in Texas, or maybe we were in Colorado by then.
When you were streaming it live and you didn't mean to be, because you were only trying to.
I meant to be streaming it live, but it dawned on me that Johnny was having a private conversation on the phone.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we could hear
yeah,
the
yeah.
audio through it. So
Oh, it also turns out that this guy is the Child Protective Services apparently took the baby, and it wasn't because of the video, but apparently somebody saw it. You know, he wanted to share it with friends, and they reported to CPS that he had domestic violence allegations, and the guy denies those things, but obviously CPS went out there, so there had to be something going on. I doubt that they just run out based on anybody's
Oh no, they do.
wild speculation. Oh,
They
even,
do.
oh, okay.
they do.
They don't. They don't even try to like confirm,
They
like look
they
up the
take
record of the guy
action.
to
They
see if.
take
They
action.
confirm after they come out, and
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's how they confirm.
Okay. I don't know. You know.
Yes, they go out on wild accusations.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. But yeah, another reason why you shouldn't be posting stuff online. And of course, I want that baby to be okay. But maybe this guy's more concerned about the money than the baby. Who knows?
Anyway, how about cramming a Raspberry Pi Zero and a screen into an Altoids tin? That's pretty tiny. Full computer in the size of an Altoids box.
We're just about there with the pies and stuff.
Well, that's a Raspberry Pi Zero, but it has a screen with it in the size of an Altoids box.
I mean, yeah. We've known about that for a while.
Hey, Proctor, Google Home might start getting better here quickly. You may be able to use it to make voice calls.
that would be awesome.
That's a tiny screen.
Yeah. And then they also had, apparently you can use, this isn't for Google Home specifically, but I think it might be for Google Now and Allo and Assistant or whatever. Apparently you can use voice commands to look up your privacy settings on Google. So you say adjust my privacy, Google privacy settings, and it'll show you that. And then there's one more with Google Home. I haven't even gotten to read it yet, but it says you can shop till you drop using Google Home.
No doubt. Now imagine how far you can shop when you're doing it with Google Home versus like going somewhere and moving.
Yeah.
Probably won't drop for.
It looks like it's using Google Express though, so not as many people there available through Google Express, and looks like Amazon's still probably a little bit more competitive there. But they are improving it, so maybe we'll have some interesting things coming in the future. Speaking of privacy settings, Lifehacker had a guide for the privacy enthusiast on using Android. Michael, let's see how many of these you apply to. Do you have a strong alphanumeric password to sign into your phone? No?
I use a long pin, but I don't know if that qualifies. It's not alphanumeric.
No, so you don't. Do you use the fingerprint sign-in?
No, I do not.
You encrypt your phone?
I do.
You hide the notification information from the lock screen?
I do. That always bothered me.
Disable Google's tracking activity?
I have done, I believe, what they're referring to there. Let's see. Let me look at that link, but I think so. Yeah. I mean, the location. Yeah. all that stuff I've turned off. If it's possible to turn those things off, I do.
You turn
Google
off
though, but
Google Backup.
I don't know about that. No, I don't. Shit.
Turn off any unnecessary app permissions.
I've done that. I've gone back and like I, for instance, hate that visual voicemail thing. I remove all of its permissions.
I just disable it.
You can't anymore. How?
How do you most apps won't run when you disable the permissions they don't need anyway. They're just like, I'm not have this permission. I won't run. I mean,
yeah, so that's what it was going for.
I don't want you. Bye.
But you should, Michael, you should be able to go into the app and where you would normally uninstall it.
Yeah, it said disable. It does that. It did that in the old, my old Samsung. I could do that, and this one I can't. They've made some apps you can't disable them any longer. And it's because they tried. They want to stick you with a free subscription to visual voicemail, and then keep billing you before you realize that they're shoving something down your throat you don't need or want.
What does visual voicemail do anyway?
It's supposed to transcribe your voicemails and provide this great interface so you'll never lose a voicemail, never have to dial *6 again.
I've never had it actually transcribe the voicemail.
Yeah, well, you gotta pay.
It does for me. It lets me play the voicemail from my. The only thing it's ever done for me on my Nexus devices that I don't purchase from Verizon, and maybe it seems like when I had the Galaxy S4, you could do this, but you're saying, but since I've had the Nexus devices, the only thing it even let you do is play the voicemail from the phone by tapping instead of having all the stupid.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's the only thing it lets you do.
You can. Well, I'm told you can turn on transcription features, or at least they were advertising that when I looked.
They don't work.
No, they probably don't work well.
It doesn't even try. It never has tried. Not on my Nexus devices.
Look,
but I didn't buy them from Verizon. Understand? I use Google Voice. It works great.
One of my family members, actually, okay, so. I realized I was like looking at his phone. I was like, why are you using just like Google Maps for your GPS stuff? And I know there's maybe legitimate reasons why you might not want to, but you know, they thought that you had to have this installed basically to this navigator, this VZ navigator or whatever crap that Verizon tries to push out on you. And again, this is just ways to trick people into paying for things that they don't want or that are otherwise freely offered. Like the phone is not gonna stop using voicemail for you if you don't use visual voicemail, and you're still going to be able to get Google Maps navigation if you don't subscribe to Navigator, but they don't make that very apparent on the sites. And because they preload the phones with all these things, the consumers don't usually understand that either. And the crazy thing about it is you can't uninstall or disable without like doing something queer like the permissions thing, the visual voicemail stuff, and you even if you decline the license agreement. So there's it's like I'm not even agreeing to your license, and you're. So and by the way, I can't check my. I mean, I can.
Okay, yes, carrier stuff is terrible. Buy a phone not from the carrier.
I'll shut up.
You can do that. You can like Nick did. He went out.
Pixel. I'm gonna do Google's.
You could have gotten a Samsung unlocked G7 or S7 Edge too. You can buy those without having to go through them, but you're losing out on your payment plan,
money,
your discounts. So
there's a money issue with that.
You're trading off. You're trading off getting those carrier apps and dealing with them. So don't complain about them because you can do something about it.
Yeah, spend $800 for a phone.
That's what you're spending anyway. But anyway, besides the point. I thought it was interesting, the last two things on there, I assume you'd had done for at least the first one, turn on two-factor auth, although you threw away your YubiKey that would have really helped with that. And this one's strange to me, enable Android Device Manager. Doesn't that require all that tracking activity stuff?
Yeah, that's not consistent with the items above. So, but like they say, that's considered. It might be considered a toss-up from a privacy point of view.
Yeah, because you can remotely wipe your phone with it, which is nice. But yeah, it's kind of, why would you have disabled all of the tracking stuff then?
If somebody follows that article, they might disable all those things and then assume that their ADM is going to work, and it's not.
So HP Mike and Phoenix have been posting some stuff in the chat here. Looks like we can watch the Queen open NCSC, where they're working to make UK the safest place to live and work online. Weren't they just as bad as the US on the whole not being safe to live and work online?
Britain's been,
Government
the mass
tracking?
surveillance. They're the first to do mass surveillance on an extremely broad scale. They literally have cameras on every corner in London and a lot of other places too, from what I understand.
Well, they also just added that bill where the ISPs have to keep like tons of information on you.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
USS Rover, our password is 64 alphanumeric symbols, characters long too. Nick's is too. Well, except for his guest account that he set us up on. That was not 64 characters.
Well, and except for anything that I have a Microsoft account and using it, they like limit everything to 16 characters. Like, yeah, you ever tried to go over 16 characters on a Microsoft anything?
Windows, it works.
They don't let you do that. There's like a big thing about it. It's really annoying.
For connecting to your Wi-Fi?
Oh, I mean, no. I just mean like Microsoft services, like Outlook and Outlook.com or, whatever, just Microsoft stuff account. Junk. They don't let you have more than 16 characters. It's really annoying.
That would be.
It's really a lot worse than like the other. I mean, because there's those places that still stop you at 8 to 12 characters. They're like, whoa, we don't want more than that.
Like
you
banks.
can't handle that. You'll never remember. We don't want the customer service headache.
Yeah, like banks.
Yeah.
My banks, one of the banks I use still limits you to 8 characters.
I know. Ditto. Scary.
Then Phoenix also posted that apparently you can flash the Cisco Meraki access point with another firmware, so that's cool. Yeah. I did not know that about the 16 character limit on accounts, but still 16 characters is fairly hard to brute force if at least it lets you do
but the 8
numeric symbols, right?
The 8 thing's an issue though.
Well, my problem is just that it's not consistent. It's like they have this limitation that makes it less consistent with like everything else I do ever.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like 20, 24. Who cares? Why does it matter anymore?
Yeah, why does it matter to them?
Yeah, but actually they have a TechNet or an MSDN or something on it article. There's like a couple of articles on it probably, and they have no plans on changing that as far as I understand. Last I read.
Let's see if I can find it.
Because of whatever they're talking about in the article. I don't know. I didn't read it words. Bye. You suck.
Google automatically suggested that for me.
But most of their stuff just truncates whatever password you throw in there. It doesn't even tell you. So like, it's irritating to me because when you end up with a field that takes more, that allows you to paste in more than they actually allow you for the password, and then they'll try to validate the more part and not just the limit that they have, which is my biggest problem.
I don't see anything from Microsoft talking about it, but I do see a lot of people saying that you can only have 16 characters for like Office 365 and stuff. Oh, Gmail limits you to 200 plus characters. Yahoo 32, Outlook.com
Shame on
16.
that.
Jeez,
Shame.
200 character password? That's crazy. So there's the article I found talking somewhat about it. I can't find the one. Oh wait, here, yeah, it links to the Microsoft reason why. Wait, that just linked me to a Windows Essential thing.
Removed.
Yeah. Guess they did, and they replaced it with a completely innocuous page.
We're like, yeah, we don't really need everybody knowing why.
So it says, this doesn't mean that your password has been shortened. Actually, Windows Live ID passwords were always limited to 16 characters. Any additional password characters were just ignored by the sign-in process.
Messenger. That's the one. Messenger I used to use that I ran into that, but it didn't ignore. Like it ignored the characters. I don't remember how it worked, but however it was a hassle because if you did a copy and paste of what you thought was your password in certain fields, it would not, like you had to know where the limit was.
Yeah. And apparently they came out in a statement that said, please note our research has shown uniqueness is more important than length. And like all major account systems, we see criminals to attempt to victimize our customers in various ways. However, we agree that in general, longer is better. We found the vast majority of attacks are through phishing, malware-infected machines, and reuse of passwords on third-party sites, none of which are helped by very long passwords. 16 characters has been the limit for years now. We will always prioritize protection needs of user accounts, and we will continue to monitor the new ways hijackers and spammers attempt to compromise your accounts. That's interesting. They basically just said, get over it.
Yeah, no, that's what got me. I was like, yeah, it's like, so deal with it.
So other interesting news, Proctor came across or told us about an interesting site today. Michael actually had to use it. And came across another interesting thing too, is when you're using the print to PDF feature in like Microsoft Word, when you do that, the PDF comes out like extremely large. I think it's like how large was that document, Michael?
Well, granted, it did have a lot of screenshots inside of it, but it was a little under 12, or maybe 11 and a half.
No, so the Word document itself.
The Word document was just let me see.
1.1 megabytes, but
There
when
you
he
go.
printed it out to PDF, it ended up being almost 12 megabytes. So Proctor had this site that would compress the PDF size because we had to email out 2 of those documents, and that would have been 24 megabytes of email attachments, which is kind of crazy. So Proctor suggested this site PDF Compress, and apparently they took the PDF and compressed it down to around 800 kilobytes, you said? So from
I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely. It was tiny, 800 kilobytes, a little over 800, but yeah.
So from 12 megabytes down to 800 kilobytes is very significant difference.
Yeah. And the only concern I have with it is if you were, if you had private information within the documents, I wouldn't feel very comfortable about uploading those to a third party for the conversion. But if that's not an issue, then it's a great tool. Other ways to do this would be to use like Adobe Acrobat Pro, or Qt FTP actually makes the file size is a lot smaller than the Microsoft print to PDF.
You mean Qt PDF?
Yeah, what did I say?
Qt FTP.
Yeah, cute PDF.
Yeah, and USS River mentioned that one as well. That's the one I had always used and fallen back to as well. I enjoyed cute PDF and never had an issue with the file size, but it was interesting that the Microsoft one ended up being so large.
Yeah, it's just basically a lack of it allowing you to control the options for compression and image quality and other various things.
That's exactly what PDF is for, or printers and such. But I mean, we talked about this the other day, just, reducing file sizes by, a certain.
Yeah, isn't it supposed to be a portable document format, not a
anyway,
entire drive format?
there is a solution, but I guess, in this sense, you could always pay or get something like Cute PDF to use to create your PDFs as opposed to using Microsoft stuff.
And it's possible that that site still could compress it even further.
No, that's true. I'm not clear exactly what it's doing, but I would urge everyone that, you're uploading your content to the site for them to do that. And so I would be wary of sharing any sensitive information like that.
Yeah, there's actually another PDF site that I use too. It's PDF Merge that will merge multiple files into one PDF. But again, don't upload anything that you don't mind sharing.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, I came across a couple other interesting videos. This one is about a Brinks combo lock. I'm a big fan of lock picking and stuff, and apparently Brinks, the lock company, got a patent that the copyright had expired on and decided to make the lock just like it and just put their brand on it. Well, come to find out that this was a master lock style lock that they had actually discontinued because of how incredibly easy it was to open without the combination. Essentially, you just end up putting a shim in one of the combination slots, pushing the lock down, and then pushing the shim up, and the lock pops open like under a second worth of picking, essentially, to break that lock. So don't buy that lock. And he was doing the video as an advertisement to make it known for people to not break that lock or not buy that lock. Magnetic padlocks. How does that work? Do you have a link to one of those? I need to see that.
Yeah, but those magnetic padlocks, they require power, so you could still get inside of them typically by cutting the, well, I don't know, maybe they don't fall open with cutting the power, maybe they stay closed when cutting the power, but they should involve, the electricity is involved, so that could be another means to circumvent it, possibly.
Oh, well, what's fun is I did a search for magnetic padlock just to see what one looks like. I did a search for one just to see what they look like, and I ended up coming across this.
Oh, well, a magnetic padlock? No, this is something totally different than what I was talking about. I was talking about potentially sealing something magnetically using, an electromagnet, like a door or something like that. And those are common in higher secure areas, I think. But this doesn't look like it requires electricity. But what is magnetic key lock? Okay, it's a locking mechanism whereby the key utilizes magnets as part of the locking and unlocking. Okay, well, yeah, I got that.
I'm going to go back and watch that video and see how it was done, but every lock out there you can pick, I'll tell you that much. Doesn't matter if there's a keyhole or not. Not you specifically can pick it, by the way. Somebody out there can pick it or get into it.
Well, they could always reproduce the magnetic key, right? They could measure it. Somebody could walk by you with some sort of magnet, something that detects magnetic fields, a Gauss, something reads Gauss or something like that. But and yeah, there's
I
always.
imagine that's a little bit more difficult than you made it.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, that would be more difficult. Certainly more difficult than capturing somebody's fingerprint, like we've talked about previously. That's a very good suggestion there, USS Rover. Appreciate that. I'll have to look into that if I decide I need a padlock anytime soon.
Cool. Well, another interesting video I came across was this impossible Japanese puzzle solved after 10 years. So this old guy had a rope ring puzzle, and essentially the puzzle was to get the ring from one side to the other, and you can't take things apart, obviously. So he ended up it seems like a Japanese talk show, but he ended up on there. The host tried to figure out the puzzle. He couldn't figure it out. So they were like, well, let's see if we can get some help figuring this out. So they took it to a physicist, and the physicist couldn't figure it out. He suggested possibly some animal instinct special ability could figure it out. So they took it to a monkey. The monkey couldn't figure it out. So they took it to a magician. The magician slightly figured it out, but he did it in a way that magicians do. And then they come to find out that there's actually a entire association in Japan that specializes in figuring out these types of puzzles. So they took it to him, and he didn't even bat an eye before he showed you how to solve it. So it's pretty interesting watch to watch. And let's see, we got anything else? Oh, Michael, you might like this one. Stalk scan. You can go look up people's Facebook accounts without having to have a Facebook account and see more info than they would normally post with it. So you can go check out your own Facebook page without actually having to look at Facebook.
I mean, the only problem with this is that I would have problems sharing information with StockScan as well, because that doesn't sound scary, does it?
That's what I was thinking. So I came across another interesting article that might be interesting out there to the tech people as well. We've talked about remote access options and alternatives and various things, and I came across this that has 7 different remote access tools. TeamViewer is one of them, Chrome Remote Desktop, Microsoft Remote Desktop. We've talked about all those. Splashtop, I think we mentioned briefly. Then a couple other ones. Arrow Admin. I can't remember if we had talked about that one before or not. Then Screen, I guess, is another way to pronounce that. And Light Manager. I hadn't heard of any of those or had a chance to try them out, but just like putting the information out there if anyone wants to try them out and tell us how it ended up being for them. Well, that's the magnetic padlock he uses. So he says he's tried Arrow, and that one's not bad.
what they can realistically say pick proof. Which I guess is kind of cool, particularly from a marketing standpoint.
It's interesting. Man, that looks like something you could easily cut with bolt cutters. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch that video before I invest in a magnetic padlock. That might be good for the shed or something like that, possibly. And we had talked about, oh, he's got another one, Supremo desktop tool. See what that is.
That used to be a free remote support. Remember that? I think I used that.
USS Rover says he's still using that.
I don't remember why I didn't use it more. I remember it had a lot of promise.
Light and easy, it says. Doesn't look that bad on pricing.
Maybe a year ago, but
it looks okay on pricing too. Especially now that the euro is so bad off. Cool. Thanks for the heads up on that one. Well, we had talked about border privacy, and Make Use Of had an interesting article on ways to deal with your privacy at a border search and some options you can take. I think it's still boiled down to you should just mail your phone to yourself, though, pretty much. So, yeah. Does anyone else have anything else they want to talk about or go over? No? Good?
No, there's a nice physics one on ours, but it's too complicated to go into without spending probably a good half hour on. So.
Okay, well, let's not do that because we have reached about our hour limit for today. So I say let's go ahead and wrap her up. Again, we are mainly here to provide support and answer any questions about our products and services. If you do have any of those, you can always contact our support via the various means we have on our website. Otherwise, if you'd like to speak to us directly, we'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. for our Friday show, and we'll be more than happy to focus on that instead of talking the random shop talk that we fill the air with. So, hope everybody has had a great week so far, and hope you're looking forward to the weekend coming up. And thanks everyone for watching. To take us on out, Proctor. And thanks for joining us, Phoenix and USS Rover and Weskers, participating in the chat.